Fill in the blank. You're not getting any younger. So
go out and do something that you've never done before.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Welcome to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast, a podcast for people who want to disrupt their lives for a good reason, to make it count. I'm your host, Jen Glantz, and every week I'll drop a new episode with stories from real people just like you, who woke up one morning and decided to make big changes, starting with small things. We'll cover topics like entrepreneurship, love, failure, and self-care. Hey, you're not getting any younger, so let's make this an adventure. Ready?
Hey, any youngers, Jen Glantz here. Happy Valentine's Day. I know this is the one day of year that either people love or they love to hate, and I have totally been on both teams. I remember there was some Valentine's Day that I would ride the subway in New York back and forth solo because my eyes were just glued on all of the happy couples with their happy smiles and their bouquet of roses and boxes of chocolates, and I would be sitting there thinking, today is the worst day ever. There is no way to escape Valentine's Day when you look at it from that miserable perspective of everybody in the world has what I don't. So I remember that after a couple of those Valentine's Days, yes, a couple of those Valentine's Day of just riding the subway back and forth, making myself feel miserable, people watching, I made a pact to myself that no matter what, I would do something every single Valentine's Day for myself. Even if I eventually got into a relationship or I got married, the 14th of February would always be Jen Day. So that is one tradition that I started in my own life, is doing one nice thing for myself. And today, February 14th, the nice thing that I'm doing for myself is I booked myself a facial. I've always had acne for my entire life. I'm very self-conscious about it, but I decided, okay, I never treat myself to anything nice like that. So I found a place, I'm booking myself a facial, I'm spending an hour on the chair, and it's a little bit of self-care, but also it's just my way of saying, you know what, Jen, you deserve something nice. And here's the thing, we can't expect people to give us what we want. In a relationship solo, we have to give it to ourselves quite often. We can't wait for the world to give us opportunities. We have to create them ourselves. And that happens with doing nice things for ourselves. And I think a big thing with Valentine's Day, any holiday really, is that we have so many expectations from the people around us to make us happy, to make us feel good, to make us feel all of these things. But really, it starts with what we're doing on our own. If you're listening to this, whether you're super single or super not and you're in a relationship, I challenge you to think of not only one nice thing that you can do for yourself, and that could be free. That could be go for a walk around the block. That could be shower and do your hair. That could be you just deciding to take yourself out for lunch at your favorite lunch spot. But I also challenge you to do something nice for somebody else. Because here's the thing about any kind of holiday, whether you love it or hate it, you can feel so much better if you just take the time to do something completely nice for a stranger out there. So those are my challenges for you, something good for you and something good for a complete stranger. If you take these challenges, whether or not it's on Valentine's Day or you listen to this days and months later, I want to know what you did. So come hang out with us in the Secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group. Share your stories of what you did for self-care and what you did nice for a stranger. Also, in the name of self-care and also saving money, I am currently sitting here in a little bit of pain because I tried to cook myself dinner. I'm home alone and I had all these vegetables in my fridge, so I mushed them together. I don't know how you say it. This is Jen talking her cooking language, but I put them on a tray, put some olive oil on them, stuck them in the oven, and I did a couple phone calls, went back to the oven 40 minutes later. Here's mistake number one. I thought, okay, there's no oven mitt around, so I'm just going to take a paper towel, cover my hand with it, and pull out the burning hot tray from the 400-degree oven. That is currently why I'm sitting here with burned fingers, because very quickly the oven said, Jen, You are so dumb right now. So I tried that, burned my hand. Then I got a towel from the bathroom and I pulled out the tray and pulled the vegetables out, and they're all black. They're all burned. So completely had to throw everything out. And I wanted to call it quits. I wanted to call up Domino's Pizza and say, how fast can you get here? But instead, I decided to throw out the burned vegetables and cook myself something else, this time not oven included. So I made myself cereal and milk. We just need to remember that we just need to stop being so stubborn. Note to freaking self. Today's episode is a lot of fun. I have Kimberly Seltzer. She's an image expert, dating coach, and matchmaker. She draws upon experience as a therapist using an approach called inside out. You may have seen her all over the place. She's a contributor for the Huffington Post, Your Tango, Lava Life, and Dating Advice. You can also see her on Yahoo and Cosmo Magazine and The Examiner. Talk about something called image consulting, which is all about how do you make yourself feel better with what you put on your body and how you walk out there, and how do you switch up your body language so that you seem more approachable when you're out there in the wild and people are around you. Kim shares some really awesome success stories of clients she's worked with where they've made small changes and they ended up meeting their future partner or someone that they dated practically instantly. And I know that sounds probably like too good to be true, but these stories are super real. And I've also felt it myself where I've decided, okay, I'm going to put on a really cute outfit today. I'm going to do my hair and makeup. And I've just noticed that I attracted a lot of awesome things that way because I felt awesome myself. So enjoy the episode. As always, if you have just 25 seconds and you can leave a review on iTunes talking about how much you enjoy this podcast, it would mean the world to me because it allows other people to discover the show. It allows us to keep going strong. I can't thank you enough. And as always, come hang out with us already in the Secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group. If you've wondered what goes on in there, why not come see for yourself? Enjoy. When this episode comes out, it will officially be Valentine's Day 2019, which is a day that is infamous for romantic love, but also for self-love. I am so excited to have our guest today, Kim Seltzer. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. What a perfect time to talk.
Oh my goodness. I really am just so excited to have you here because today is the kind of day where a lot of people are sitting here, they're listening to the show, they're not feeling totally so great about themselves. And one of the things that you talk about, you write about, you say is the importance of loving yourself from the inside out. What in the world does that mean?
Actually, I'm going to flip it on you. And the only reason why I say that, because most experts, and actually when I used to be like practicing as a therapist, I used to say, yeah, you have to work from the inside out and all that. But I actually think now that you have to work from the outside in order to attract what you want. And the reason I say that is only because I had my own story happen to me. Look, I've had amazing professional experience. I've helped a lot of people. Being an image consultant and a dating coach and a therapist, I kind of use this like three-prong approach in helping people attract what they want. But the reason why I kind of start from the outside is because of what happened to me. Like, do you want me to go into my story?
Yes, please.
Yeah, because it really relates to what we're going to talk about today. I mean, if you knew me, I'd say it was, now it's like 16 years ago. Already. If you saw me then, I looked like a very different person than I look like today. I mean, I actually was married. I lived in Chicago. I had the picket fence and, the dog, the kids, the husband. And it really, I thought that was going to be my life. And we all picked up and we moved here to La La Land. And I joke, we always did what the other people do here in La La Land. We get a divorce. I'm joking. Obviously, there were like other issues going on, right, in this little fairy tale. But honestly, that's where the record stopped. My life as I knew it completely was shattered. And I didn't know anyone here. Career definitely couldn't have gone on as it was, because if anyone had come to me, wanting advice as a therapist, I would have said, you think your life sucks? Let me tell you, let me go on the couch for a second. Like, I was in no way, shape, or form able to help anybody else, let alone myself. And so I was kind of going down this dark path, and my clothes reflected it. And, the thing is, I had a great support system. I did a lot of work on myself. I did a lot of inside work, right? Because that's what I was taught. That's what I preached. That's what I believed. But I couldn't get out of my own way. And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing this really frumpy, sad girl with oversized black clothes and Birkenstocks. And I still had my nursing bras on, okay? I wasn't even pregnant any longer. But it just shows you my mindset and just how stuck I was. So what happened to me is where my business was born. I kind of just got to that point where I was over myself. I was fed up. And I went shopping. I'm like, you know what? I just need to go shopping and get some new clothes because nothing is fitting me. My body had changed. And I'm, of course, pulling all the same clothes in the store that I normally do. And I'm thinking I'm getting like a different style. But yet again, I have the black clothes in my hands that were probably 3 sizes too big. So this personal shopper, she comes up to me. She was watching me. And she said, ma'am, I was wondering if you wanted to try on this. And she holds up this red dress that looked like 3 sizes too small. I said, that's so sweet of you. But that is really not my color. And that is so not my size. She's like, honey, that is your size. That is your color. Try it on. And it was like, boom. She hit me over the head with that dress. But I had to hear that. So I did. I put on that dress. I twirl around like Cinderella. I look in the mirror and, oh my God, that woman was right. I could not believe what I saw. It was like a completely different woman. It's just that I hadn't seen her in so long that I had to see it to believe it. And so I bought that dress that day and I walked out into the world and all this magic started happening. It was almost this like symbiotic relationship between the outer and the inner to raise my confidence. As people started noticing me, I started embracing that. And, the rest was kind of history. And I was also obsessed with that show, What Not to Wear.
Oh my God.
Remember
I love
that show?
That's like a guidebook for me. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, wait, those people are happy and I'm feeling happier. And maybe there's something to this. And so I learned that sometimes we have to viscerally see ourselves differently. We have to put ourselves into action in order to create that change, because everything in my head told me that I should feel better, but it wasn't until everything started integrating. So that's what I do today. I'll start with people's outside. I'll, take a look at their wardrobe and help them with their style, their body language, their presentation. I mean, that's the first impression, because that's going to help them, give them that confidence to then go inward. And then I work on like emotional intelligence and self-expression and also their social intelligence, how they interact with the world.
I absolutely love this. And I want to go back to that moment of the red dress, because I think it's a game changer in the sense that when you put something on, it changes how you feel. Like even right now, we're working from home. I'm wearing sweatpants and a sports bra. It's making me personally not feel so great, right? So that moment when you put on that red dress, was it an instant, oh my goodness, I feel a lot better? Or was there any moment where you were like, this feels like a little weird. I know it's right, but I feel a little self-conscious, maybe like an imposter. What exactly was going through your mind when you bought that dress and wore it out?
It's a good question, and it's something that I help a lot of people with. I think there was a marination process that happened. I bought the dress, honestly, as almost a costume, because in the beginning, I had to almost like fake it till I made it. And, I was in theater like you, I did improv and everything. And I knew that when I was in character with the red dress, I was able to create something different. But in the beginning, I didn't really truly think that was me yet. And so I had to create like almost positive experiences for myself and exposure in that dress to then actually have it become me. And I see this happen a lot, when I work with both men and women, by the way, and they walk out of the dressing room and they're literally like, first of all, the instant thing that happens is their body language. Like you can see them physically walking out a little bit prouder, a little bit sexier. And then when you see the people's reaction in the store and then they're getting that, great feedback. But it takes a while to walk around in that. And then, when I get emails or I have coaching calls with them, weeks and months later, they're like, Kim, I can't believe how much my life has changed. People are noticing me. I'm feeling better. People's reactions are different. And, I sometimes when I talk about this stuff, I can almost like see eyes rolling like, oh, this is so superficial. And, here we are like two blondes from LA talking about image matters. Right. And you know what I mean? But here's the thing. It's not changing who you are. It's about marketing yourself in a way so that people get to know you, right? It's like sometimes we market ourselves in ways that like we're hiding or we have low self-esteem or, and because people don't know us yet, those are the messages that are being fired out to the world. So it does take a while. But what I love about this outside work is that it can be instantaneous. And to your point of the question, yeah, like it is an instant kind of feel good thing, but then, it's continuing to wear that red dress and honoring that and working through what's uncomfortable and then like noticing how that all impacts you in a positive way.
I love how you said, you gotta wear the red dress and you gotta go do new things in the red dress. Because a lot of people would be like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy the red dress, Kim, but then I'm gonna sit on my couch and watch Netflix and hope that I meet the love of my life. Right. That's not gonna happen. So is what you're sort of saying, like you gotta change the way that you look, but then you also have to go and make that happen in new frightening situations also? Is that definitely a part of it too?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're right. Like, although you might feel different, watching Netflix in your red dress with popcorn than sweats, you definitely will be different. No one's going to see that. So, what I tell people, and this is what I help put together dating plans for people. You know how like, in the business world, you have a business plan. Well, I mean, we need dating plans. If you're dating after 30, gone are the days of college where you have the infrastructure for your social life and, your parties and everyone's kind of in a similar place. You have to be intentional. You have to create that social life for yourself. And so, taking a look at not just, what you're putting on your body, but also where are you going and how you're approaching it. So it's changing your mindset, it's changing your approach, and it's changing your perspective. Because here's the thing, you can walk in the same bar that you go to maybe every week. But when you have a different dress on and you have a different perspective, you might see something different.
Interesting.
And I see this all the time. There's this one woman, I'll share a little story, who hired me. And actually, we just did phone coaching. And she was kind of hesitant. And she's like, Kim, she lived in Canada. She's like, I never see any guys, out and about. Like she was just on the dating apps and all that kind of thing. And I said, well, what if you just kind of opened your mind and just looked around and saw something different? And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, here's what I want you to do. This is your first assignment. I want you to, put on something that you feel pretty sexy in and take the same route to work, but just notice who's around you. Make eye contact, smile, just kind of notice something. So she's like, okay. So she goes out into the world and we have our first coaching call and she goes, oh my God, Kim, do you have a voodoo doll? I said, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, I don't have a voodoo doll. I'm not like woo-woo like that. She's like, well, I'm like, what happened? She's like, well, I did what you said. And I can't believe it, but I think I met a guy who I'm like gonna date. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. She took the same route. And they both smiled at each other and they started talking. And And he asks her out. They had an amazing date. And do you know that that guy became her boyfriend of a year?
Wow. I see, these are the kinds of stories I love because people are
Yeah.
listening and they're like, how quick does it happen? Can it happen? Is this advice real? And the thing is, I feel like a lot of small changes make huge waves of
Ah,
things that can potentially change your life. Like, you don't need to dye your hair. You don't need to lose all this weight. You just simply sometimes have to open your eyes for these kind of things to happen, right?
I love it. It's so weird. See, we are like sisters. It's so
I
weird because
really feel like we are.
I know. No, I always say that like the small wins add up to the bigger success. And I think that's why people get tripped up a lot of times because they're so focused on the finish line. They're
Yeah.
focused on the bigger picture, like find me my soulmate or, and that's a lot of pressure. And honestly, that's a hard goal to fulfill when you're so like anxious and focused on that. I tell people it's like a marathon, right? You can't race to the finish line, right? You're going to get hurt. No one races. You have to pace yourself. You have to exercise. You have to really like learn about how to get to the finish line. And so focusing on these small little things, and actually it can start with like having a good hair day. I know that sounds superficial, but it can start with
No.
lipstick. Like
Yes.
I'll share another story. There was a woman who hired me for dating coaching. She thought she had her style going on. Like she had expensive clothes. She's like, Kim, I'm fine with my style. I just really need help with, meeting men. I'm like, great. So I meet her and she had great clothes, but they weren't fitting her. They were all like beige and just like drabby colors. And also she had this huge shawl on, Jen. Like it was like a cocoon. Okay. She was like wrapped up in it. I said, look, I will help you. No problem in meeting men, but I'm sorry. The first thing we need to do is get you some new clothes. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you're hiding in your clothes. And it was just like this, again, aha moment for her. And so the small thing that I made, because she wasn't ready for the first assignment was getting red lipstick and just wearing red lipstick for a week. Okay. So she does it. She comes back. She's like, oh my God, that magic red bullet. I said, what happened? She said, all these guys started talking to me on the train, in the Uber, like all over the place. She's like, I can't believe it. It was just the red lipstick. I'm like, yeah. I said, can you imagine now if we got some sexy clothes that matched that with more color and so that you got used to being seen? So she did it. She then got a full wardrobe. We had a photo shoot. And now when she walks into the room, she is a man magnet. Like people go to her to help them with flirting. I created a monster.
No, it's crazy. And like, but I feel it. Like I have a good hair day and you'll see me and you'll be like, that person feels like she's an actual celebrity, like
Right.
it's those little things that like make us walk with confidence, make us love ourselves. And this is great advice for people who are single, who are looking to improve themselves. But I wonder, does this advice apply to people in relationships? Because I know that, after a year and a half, I got lazy. Date night to me is I go to the gym before and I'm sweaty and gross and then we go to a restaurant and that to me is appropriate style. And, it's only gotten worse year after year with really how I present myself in my relationship with how I look and how I care. So do the same things apply to making sure that you don't get lazy with your image when you're in a relationship as well?
Oh my God. Never stop dating your partner. That is something, in fact, I'll work with, people also who are in relationships. I also work with people in business as well on first impressions. It all matters. So all the same rules apply, as you were talking, because especially in relationships, like you said, we get lazy only because we get to that state of like, we're comfortable with each other and, a little bit of a complacency thing starts happening. And you, not that you like consciously take each other for, granted, but again, like when you just fall into this kind of routine, you forget what it was like in the beginning when, you got all dressed up and there was a little more flirtation and intention with your body language. And so, all the time, I actually did a whole podcast on that and how to date your partner and, carving out date nights so that you do get dressed up or do little surprises here and there, do activities, do date night so that you almost rekindle some of that fire. It's really important for couples.
Yeah, and we have a question from a member of the Secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group. This question's from Lindsay. She says, Kim, my husband and I are trying to work on ourselves so that we can be the best for each other. But since we've gotten married, there's a bit of laziness that's set in. What tips do you have so that we can try to impress each other when we feel like we are uncomfortable or it's just so still in our relationship?
Yeah. Okay. So, the first thing is I would definitely do a surprise date night and do something that's different than you haven't done, So if it's something that's outside the routine, because that always, mixes things up and gets you excited to see each other. Actually, there's a lot of studies out there that says, when you do things that get the endorphins going, it also can create more sexual chemistry. So, you don't have to go bungee jumping to get that, but if you want to and you're into that, cool, but things that you're doing in action, it could be a hike, it could be, something more thrilling, but adding that element of excitement can really, spark some chemistry back. Definitely get a new outfit. And do something if you're always in jeans and you're always in, oversized, t-shirts, eating Chinese food in front of Netflix, maybe you watch Netflix, but this time you have sexy lingerie on and, oh, honey, let's watch our favorite show and you just happen to have a negligee on, or, something that's just that element of surprise. Well, first of all, get the guy every time, but also, you need to let the guy know something that you would like. There's an exercise that I give couples that's actually kind of quirky and fun where, you can come up with a list of ideas of, date night ideas. And you can cut up pieces of paper and put it in a jar. I call it the surprise jar. And every time you have date night, you pull from the jar and that element of surprise. And then each of you are doing things for each other. So it's stuff like that. But you do have to put intention, and it does take work. Relationships take work. And I think that is one of the first things that people neglect is, dating each other.
Oh, I am so guilty. You said Chinese food and oversized shirt, watching Netflix. That is my Friday night with my boyfriend. And for example, for Valentine's Day, we're going to our favorite restaurant. And I am like, Jen, you are going to wear this red dress. You're going to wear the red dress. And now it's a big deal for me to wear this freaking red dress because all I ever do is sort of dress like a schlub, So that is my goal is to put on this dress because I know that it's going to make it special. And people can say what they want about Valentine's Day, but I've always loved it to be special. So that is one of my goals to sort of change my habits. But another habit that I used to have when I was dating that I want to talk about in terms of body language is the body language that we have when we're out and we're meeting people. I know that secretly I'm a little bit shy. I used to get so shy around guys. A guy would talk to me, I would turn bright red and my body language would be closed off. So what kind of body language tips do you have when people are out, they're trying to meet people, whether it's a networking event or it's at a bar, to show that they're open and that they want people to be attracted to them and come over to them?
Oh my God, that's my specialty. Yes. Well, first of all, you have to wear that red dress and then take a picture and post it on the Facebook.
I'm going to.
Just to hold you accountable.
I know. I'm staring at it right now and I'm dreading it because it's just, it's just, I guess it's such a mental thing. It's I'm so used to being with my boyfriend, sort of just looking a little bit of a mess, but I'm making it my personal goal to do my hair, put on makeup, wear this dress, and then go to that restaurant to make it special. So I will definitely show you that.
Hell yes. And then you got to share his reaction because I know he's going to be blown away.
He's going to be what? Yeah, where's the sports bra and the leggings? How did this happen?
I know. No, change that sports bra to sexy, black, lacy something. Yeah,
I'm going to say styled by Kim. Seriously, you should have a little label in a dress that says styled by Kim Seltzer.
Do you know people say that I should get a stamp that says I've been Seltzerized?
I love it. No, but just even talking to you right now, I'm I feel so much more energized to do that. So I love that.
Good. Okay. Anyway, I digress because I have this.
That's okay.
You hosting. Okay. In terms of body language, actually, what's really interesting is, so I do these wing girl sessions, right? So I will go out with people and I teach them how to interact with the world. Flirting obviously is a big part of it. But, nowadays what I'm really finding is that more than just flirting, and this relates to like networking and whatnot, it's about approachability. It's about how we connect with people. And I think we're getting so technical in the way that we are interacting with the world through social media and dating apps and all that people are losing their sense of social skills. It's like social skills 101 almost. And so, I'm finding that there's a lot of people really uncomfortable with making eye contact and smiling at each other. It's like the total basics. But the truth is 93% of communication is nonverbal. 93%. So it's not even what you say that's as important as how you show up. And both sexes have responsibility in approachability. I don't care, what people say. A lot of women are complaining that men don't approach anymore, that they're not alpha enough. And then men are complaining that women have a bunch of resting bitch faces on and they're not approachable. And so we're at a stalemate.
Yeah.
And so what I say is that if you can pay attention to, first of all, slowing down and really, I teach this whole formula. It's called the social engagement formula, where I tell people how to navigate a room and how to create conversations so that there's better connection in the end. And the first part is just being aware of your environment, your surroundings, noticing who's in the room, what, really being present, getting rid of the phones, looking up, making eye contact, smiling. That's half the battle. And being aware of just like who's in your proximity. And then the other thing is, just to tell women, men are more scared of us than we are of them. Just know that, okay? I know that almost sounds weird, but they are scared of rejection. So if you can make it a little bit easier for them, and Jen, what you described is so true with a lot of women. I think a lot of women are just shy, but
Yes.
If they look like you, because you're really cute and pretty, men don't know how to read that. So they might read that you're bitchy, aloof, or not interested. So again, it's that nonverbal signals that everyone's trying to read from each other. So that is one of the first things to do, is really stay present and just be open with your body language. It's also like slowing down your walk. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I'll coach somebody and they're racing ahead of me. I'm like, where are you? You just totally missed all these guys checking you out. Did you see that? And they're like, what guys? Exactly my point. And so, and then, there's almost 5 zones of body language that I break down for people to help them. But knowing that, that's the biggest thing to really pay attention to. And then the other thing I'll say is flirting. I mean, this could be a whole other podcast, honestly, but I think people don't flirt because of a lot of times their fears. And if you look at the definition of flirting, it's to behave as though you are attracted to someone without the serious intention of an outcome.
That's the hardest thing in the world, It's where do you start?
I know, but if you think about that last part of the definition, without the serious intention of an outcome, this is what's tripping everybody up. Everyone's getting attached to the outcome. So I'll hear, oh, well, I don't want to give him the wrong signals. I'm not really into him. He's not cute. I'm not good at it. I'm scared of rejection. Whatever. I've heard it all. That's not what flirting's supposed to be about. It's just supposed to be playful and fun and not really attached to what's going to happen, but just creating a magnetic energy that draws people to you. And when you approach it from that standpoint, so much magic has happened. I've had so many people that I'm coaching out and about been approached by guys who they end up dating later on, and they think I planted these guys. I'm like, no, it's just because you're more open. That's all.
It's so true. I mean, I remember I used to go out to bars with my friends and we'd stand in a circle, a closed circle, looking at each other. If
Yeah.
guys approached us, we'd give them like a nasty look, yet the sole purpose why we were there was to meet guys. So we were self-sabotaging ourselves, or like having your phone out at a networking event. Who in the world is going to approach you then? Like, do you think that sometimes people just self-sabotage, not on purpose necessarily, but because they are a little scared or they feel awkward or just nervous in general?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, a lot of times those fears are the love shield. I talk about that all the time. And so it's easier to look down or like insulate yourself with other women so that you don't have to actually be putting yourself out there in fear of rejection or not being good enough or whatever it is. But I always say to people, like, the first thing you need to do is look at, your wing gals, so to speak. And if you don't have them, get them. Because as nice as the coupled off folks are and the married folks are, I mean, sweet people, nothing against all of you, but they're not in the same kind of energy field that you need to be in. Like, you need to be around other singles and also positive ones. Like what you described, that circle. Oh my God, it's the worst for guys. Like,
Yeah.
There's no way a guy's going to approach that circle, especially if there's like a bunch of like negative Nelly type of, like energy just radiating from that circle, cackling in the corner and saying how guys suck and nobody ever approaches me. Well, you're actually creating that whole thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And Kim, your advice is just incredible. I guess my last real question for you is, how are you going to spend your Valentine's Day? What do you like to do on the 14th of February?
Ooh, that is a good question. Holidays overall, I think, have a lot of pressure to them.
Yeah.
And I don't do too much planning around it. I mean, I have a boyfriend and actually he's been really sick, so we probably aren't going to do anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I think, for me, I always tell people like Valentine's Day to me signifies more importantly, self-love.
Yes.
And for whatever happens from there, great. Like if you have a person in your life that you can celebrate with, great. If you don't, then what can you do to celebrate yourself? And so just like kind of like, it's almost like more of like a gratitude type of thing. What do you love about your life? What about, you that you love? Get a massage, go get your nails done, do some of these outside things that we're talking about and pamper yourself. And so, yeah, for me, I probably will do something like that. And I'm going to a conference all day. So I'm not very traditional in that. I think it's more about what's important to you. I don't think that there's one thing that's supposed to be on holidays.
I agree. And I think Valentine's Day at its core is a day of love in general, whether it's romantic, but also family and completely for yourself. So anybody listening to this today, do one nice thing for yourself, even if it's just going outside and going for a walk. Kim, one last question for you. We end all of the shows like this. Going to ask you a question and have you fill in the blank. Are you ready?
Yes.
Fill in the blank. You're not getting any younger. So
go out and do something that you've never done before.
Oh, I love it. Kim, you are amazing. I secretly want to be your best friend, so we'll have to try to make that happen.
Hang out. Yeah.
But before I let you go, please tell our listeners where they can find out about you and your services and your podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, the easiest is to go to my website, seltzerstyle.com, and you can see all kinds of ways of getting a hold of me and different services. And yes, I work with people all over the world. I do these like virtual makeover sessions, which are super fun. And it's like an hour session where I'll teach you about your body type and your colors. I go virtual shopping with you. So it's a great way to get started. I even have a Valentine's box special around that if anyone wants to work on the self-love. And then, of course, I have my own podcast, The Charisma Quotient, which Jen, you've been on. Amazing.
Ooh, so much fun. You got to listen. I will link to that in the show notes, by the way.
Definitely. She was amazing. You were amazing. And that you can, of course, find on iTunes and all the other places. And I'm all over the place on social media too. So hopefully I can connect with you all.
Wonderful. We will link to all of that in the show notes, post about Kim in our secret Facebook group, You're Not Getting Any Younger. Kim, you are awesome. Wishing you a wonderful Valentine's Day. And thank you so much for being on the show.
You too. Mwah.
Hey, you. Thank you for listening to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. There are hundreds of thousands of pods out there, so thank you for listening to this one.
You can find the show notes for this week's episode up on our website, anyyounger.com. Subscribe, rate, and review the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast on iTunes so that other ears around the world can listen too. Oh, and join our secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, where over 1,000 people are talking about how to disrupt their lives, for good reason, to make it count. Until next week, all my love, Jen Glantz.